Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be reading Psalm 18, and only Psalm 18 because it's really long. And I haven't been reading the headings on these, but I'm actually going to read the heading because it's important if there is a heading there for you. I'm reading from the NLT, but you might read this. It's really kind of cool to see where was David in life when this psalm was written, because you can tell how he's processing some of the things that are happening in his own life. So I want to encourage you in this. This says, for the choir director, a psalm of David, the servant of the Lord. He sang this song to the Lord on the day the Lord rescued him from all his enemies and from Saul. All right, so this is a really important moment for us to recognize that David has been rescued, and this is what he says from that rescue. I love you, Lord. You are my strength. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my Savior. My God is my rock in whom I find protection. He is my shield, the power that saves me in my place of safety. I called on the Lord who is worthy of praise, and he saved me from my enemies. The ropes of death entangled me. Floods of destruction swept over me. The grave wrapped its ropes around me. Death laid a trap in my path. But in my distress, I cried out to the Lord. Yes, I prayed to my God for help. He heard me from his sanctuary. My cry to him reached his ears. Then the earth quaked and trembled. The foundations of the mountains shook. They quaked because of his anger. Smoke poured from his nostrils. Fierce flames leapt from his mouth. Glowing coals blazed forth from him. He opened the heavens and came down. Dark storm clouds were beneath his feet. Mounted on a mighty angelic being, he flew soaring on the wings of the wind. He shrouded himself in darkness, veiling his approach with dark rain clouds. Thick clouds shielded the brightness around him and rained down hail and burning coals. The Lord thundered from heaven. The voice of the Most High resounded amid the hail and burning coals. He shot his arrows and scattered his enemies. His lightning flashed, and they were greatly confused. Then at your command, O Lord, at the blast of your breath, the bottom of the sea could be seen, and the foundations of the earth were laid bare. He reached down from heaven and rescued me. He drew me out of deep waters. He rescued me from my powerful enemies, from those who hated me or were too strong for me. They attacked me at a moment when I was in distress, but the Lord supported me. He led me to a place of safety. He rescued me because he delights in me. The Lord rewarded me for doing right. He restored me because of my innocence. For I have kept the ways of the Lord. I have not turned from my God to follow evil. I have followed all his regulations. I have never abandoned his decrees. I am blameless before God. I have kept myself from sin. The Lord rewarded me for doing right. He has seen my innocence. To the faithful you show yourself faithful. To those with integrity you show integrity. To the pure you show yourself pure. To the wicked you show yourself hostile. You rescue the humble, but you humiliate the proud. You light a lamp for me. The Lord my God lights up my darkness. In your strength I can crush an army. With my God I can scale any wall. God's way is perfect. All the Lord's promises prove true. He is a shield for all who look to him for protection. For who is God except the Lord? Who but our God is a solid rock? God arms me with strength, and he makes my way perfect. He makes me as sure-footed as a deer, enabling me to stand on mountain heights. He trains my hands for battle. He strengthens my arm to draw a bronze bow. You have given me your shield of victory. Your right hand supports me. Your help has made me great. You have made a wide path for my feet to keep them from slipping. I chased my enemies and caught them. I did not stop until they were conquered. I struck them down so they could not get up. They fell beneath my feet. You have armed me with strength for the battle. You have subdued my enemies under my feet. You placed my foot on their necks. I have destroyed all who hated me. They called for help, but no one came to their rescue. They even cried to the Lord, but he refused to answer. I ground them as fine as dust in the wind. I swept them into the gutter like dirt. You gave me victory over my accusers. You appointed me ruler over nations. People I don't even know now serve me. As soon as they hear of me, they submit. Foreign nations cringe before me. They all lose their courage and come trembling from their strongholds. The Lord lives. Praise to my rock. May the God of my salvation be exalted. He is the God who pays back those who harm me. He subdues the nations under me and rescues me from my enemies. You hold me safe beyond the reach of my enemies. You save me from violent opponents. For this, O Lord, I will praise you among the nations. I will sing praises to your name. You give great victories to your king. You show unfailing love to your anointed, to David and all his descendants forever. Woo! That's a long psalm. I love this psalm. There's so many things I could talk about in this psalm that stand out to me. Underline, 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 highlight, highlight. Go back, meditate on this psalm as much as you can. I'm going to bring out just two things real quick for me that are really, really powerful. When you're reading through this, one of the things that really stands, I think it's important for us to recognize, he starts talking about well, first, David's very dramatic in this, so let's just be honest. When David starts talking about being, saved from my enemies, most of us who may not be as creative, listen, I'm in Nashville, someone with a lot of creatives, and man, they can blow some things way out of proportion, right? So it's like for us, we'd be like, man, the Lord really stopped that enemy, and it was pretty awesome, David's like, he opened up the depths of the earth and swallowed all of my enemies whole. Lightning rained down from it's like all these like major things. But for David, he's basically putting into this realm of everything was wrapped around, the cosmos is wrapped around this thing of God being with his people and the enemy getting destroyed through all of the cosmos, right? So it's a really powerful thing. But I love this because as David's doing it and he's talking about it, he says, you reached down from heaven and rescued me. You drew me out of deep waters, rescued me from powerful enemies, those who hated me and were too strong for me. And he says, you led me in a place of safety. The Lord rewarded me for doing right. He restored me. Verse 19. He led me to a place of safety. He rescued me. This is so important. He rescued me because he delights in me. Like, this right here should just blow your mind. I don't know that I was taught growing up of a God who delighted in me. I think I grew up with a God who was almost like a police officer waiting to catch me doing wrong, right? And he didn't rescue me because I was such a great person or because I did everything right. He rescued me because he delights in me. And I need you to know today, like, the thing that might fall off your shoulders, the heaviness and the weightiness of serving God, is so beautiful when it says he shows up because he delights in you, like a dad delights in his children. And I don't know that that's the view of God that I got throughout my life, and I don't think it's anybody's fault necessarily, except history has proven that's not the God that we look at and say he delights in people. It's almost like we're always trying to prove ourselves, right? And we say, oh, we can't earn it, but somehow we're all still trying. And I don't know that I see that he delights in me. The other thing, though, that I want to just impress on you here is David says this in verse 34. He trains my hands for battle, strengthens my arm to draw a bronze bow. You have given me your shield of victory. Your right hand supports me. You have made a wide path for my feet. I chased my enemies and caught them. Interesting, right? Because over here, he's talking about God defeating his enemies. And over here, he talks about him defeating his enemies. And it's interesting because there's a huge movement in the worship realm to remove the word I and me out of every worship song. And this is about God, this is about God. And David actually doesn't differentiate between the two. He says, when God gets a victory, I get a victory. When I facilitate victory as a God person and as a person backed by the Spirit of God, then this is his victory. And he says, train my hands, train my fingers, right? Train my hands for war, my fingers for battle. Why? Because some of you are waiting for God to take on a battle that he's actually empowering you to take on. And us saying God's going to do something powerful does not remove my ability to partner with him in this. He's always looking for people he can partner with. And for us to remove ourselves from the songs and remove ourselves from the middle of it means he doesn't delight in you. He's just going to take care of this for you. And that's not the way God works. God is going to put the enemies under your feet. And he says that. He says, you placed. He says, I chased my enemies and caught them. I did not stop till they were conquered. I struck them down so they could not get up. You armed me with strength for the battle. Me. The word me is in this psalm. All right. This is the song he sang after winning these battles. And he said, you armed me with strength. And too many times we try to remove ourselves from the picture. And God is saying, no, I want you in the middle of this. This isn't about your glory and your fame. You couldn't have done this without him. It would be impossible to do this without him. But that's why David overdoes it in the beginning and talking about the bigness of this victory could have only been because of God, the bigness of the sky and the land and everything participating in it. Why does the sky and the land and everything else get to participate in it, but you don't? That doesn't make sense. So I'm going to remove that from your life. We're going to still sing songs that say I, me, we in it, because David said, train my hands for war, my fingers for battle, because I am going to inflict justice, and I might inflict justice by handing a glass of water to somebody who's thirsty. That's what scripture says. That's how I'm armed for it. He also might have been talking about training my hands for war, my fingers for battle by playing his harp. That this might have been an instrument that he's saying, I understand that even warfare comes through the activity of me worshiping you. So train me for battle because I am going to go to war for you. And I partner with your spirit and I say, let every bit of injustice die at your feet. And every bit of unrighteousness gets to now encounter a person who is willing to partner with God. So I absolutely love that so much in chapter 18. Underline it, highlight it, make sure you let us know what are you seeing as you read this, and I pray that you meditate on it day and night.
If you liked today's video, check out the Here Be Lions app for more resources.